Here we are with the Salem Kirban Reference Bible. You know, every so often I think, whatever happened to Salem Kirban? I mean, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, there was just like nobody bigger than Salem Kirban. I'm talking about even in popular consciousness. You know, they made these 4 movies on the rapture, like Thief in the Night and all these, and they're kind of funny to watch now, but just because people dressed, period, there, but they were really good. And pre-tribulation rapture. And so Salem Kirban had all these books about 666, 1000, talking about the mark of the beast and then the millennium coming and the rapture, and it was very illustrated. And so, and then he just fell off the map. I have no idea if he's still around. He had Bates, he was big on that too. And so this is the Salem Kirban Reference Bible, put out by the American Ministry to the Greeks, Spiros Zotiates, at AMG Publishers. It had 5 printings to this point. This is November 1992. Canada. So you have Charles Haddon Spurgeon, who has personal devotion notes. At the bottom of 300 text passages appear the promises to live by devotionals by Charles Spurgeon. Gary Cohen, Difficult Verses Explained, takes 100 most difficult passages of Scripture and explains them. And then Salem Kirban, his commentary appears over 1,100 of the Bible text pages. He's the author of 35 books, in which over 20 deal with Bible prophecy. He co-authored Revelation Visualized, and that was a big deal. Very popular book. The King James text of this Bible is taken from the Imperial Pica Text Bible, published by Zondervan. Now, the Imperial Pica Text is a really good text. So here's where to find answers. We'll just show you some of the things in this Bible. So this is the Salem Kirban Reference Bible. I kind of call it the Salem Kirban Prophecy Bible sometimes. And you know, like Tim LaHaye's come out with one, Grant Jeffrey came out with one. Grant Jeffrey's one of the hidden gems of the late 20th and early 21st century, just as far as Christian writings and stuff. But we're just going to take a look through this Bible, which I think is out of print, but you can still pick them up all over the place. Amazon, CBD, not CBD, eBay, what I meant to say. Sorry about that. So here's the symbols used here, attributes of God, the contemplation of God, the decrees of God, the faithfulness of God, doctrines of the Bible. So it's got all this in here too. It's just a really good Bible. What can I say? So this is just good stuff. Whoops. Sorry about that, Brother Mallory. I dropped out of my hand. Charts, maps, tells you how to do it. Okay, so we get to Genesis. What's happening in Genesis? Here we go. We'll just show you what's going on a sample page here. And so it would be difficult for me to underestimate how the influence things like Salem Kirban and Chick Tracts had on the American psyche. They were massive, huge. And like, people are scared today. I hear it like when I'm reading liberal publications, they're like, Mike Pompeo is doing foreign policy based on the book of Revelation and all this. Well, they're talking about from this. I'm trying to see who are these giants or fallen ones, huge animals such as dinosaurs, large, the sons of God, very large people. I'm trying to see who they were. Okay, who he says they were. Could refer to demon-possessed people. A lot of people believe that the sons of God were demon-possessed people. So it doesn't really have references. That Pica text is really good. Like, I see a symbol for 1,000. I'm assuming that means the millennium, the promise made by covenant. Here's this. Then I'm going to show you a thing. He's got a question I get a lot. It's like, will you recognize your wife in heaven? or your family or your friends. So this pica is really good. I'll see if I can see what size type this is with our new handy professional ruler we had somebody send us. So let's see, type size, 60 point type. No, it's not 60 point type. It's 9. Okay, so I'm going to bring it over here. It looks like it's exactly 8 point type, but it is so clear. Well, we recognize friends in heaven, birthright, dish of lentils. So you can see, like we're in Exodus now, on almost every page, there's going to be something. Has nice, generous margins to write in. So this is just kind of an echo of days gone by. Incredible days gone by, really. Boy, the burden of the sons of Kohath. I mean, just every page. It's got Spurgeon, Victory Parade, talking about Nehemiah. It's got little pictures in here, Israel's history by periods. And, you know, a lot of people say this goes back to Darby and especially Schofield. Here's the theory, that Schofield was co-opted by Theodore Herzl and or friends of Herzl into the Zionist movement to create a theology that would bring people back to the Jews, back to the Holy Land. And that the Jews are not really the Jews, they're basically people from the Khazarian Empire. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Oh God, I've seen too many conspiracy theories. Lizard people from David Icke and all this. But anyhow, they're really Khazarians, and they're not really Jews, and they're the Sephardics are the Jews. It's kind of, the Sephardi's are Jews, the other ones are not Jews, but some DNA says they are, some DNA says they're not. Blah, blah, blah. And that, so it deceived the evangelical movement into really worshiping the Antichrist, and what's in Israel today is not really Israel, but it's the kingdom of Antichrist and blah, blah. And all this. But let's back up. Again, evangelicals, fundamentalists didn't get that conspiracy theory message, so they just in 1948, when Israel becomes a nation, they're like, Jesus is coming. This is like the late great Planet Earth by Hal Lindsays. Sells tens of millions of copies, I think. It may have been the most popular book of the 1970s. In the entire decade, I think it sold really, if it wasn't the most popular, it was one of the most popular. The late great Planet Earth. And Hal Lindsays, I think, still on TBN, just going away, you know, on prophecy and all this. And then 67, when they got Jerusalem, I mean, there was revival all over the place. And this is the reason Christians, for the most part, are such friends to Israel, at the same time, friends to the Palestinians, the Arabs as well, because we love everybody and want everybody to get saved and come to the knowledge of the love of Jesus Christ. So the point of all that was, when in 1948, Israel prophecy exploded, and then with the Jews getting control of most of Jerusalem in 67, based on Daniel 9:24 through 27. It's huge. Look at all this. And then barcodes came out, and somebody figured out that the barcodes really meant 666. I'm just going to tell you, you know, I understand. I'm not the brightest bulb in the ceiling fan, but I never could figure that. I tried to figure it out. How they got all these little matches and it said 666. I didn't know. I wanted to know. Man, and here we go. God's promises to the Arabs. God's promise to the Arabs. We're coming to the book of Revelation. Of course, he's going to do an amazing job on the book of Revelation. So again, this kind of harkens back to a bygone era. Something that is still, the embers of it are alive in America, but not a lot. So you got charts, wins the marriage supper of the Lamb. I tell you, the biggest thing I think Schofield missed on is turning the 7 churches of Revelation into 7 church period ages. Because I think most people totally missed the point that those were 7 individual churches and that letters were written to the angel, or most probably the pastor of those 7 churches. But you can just see, I mean, this is the book of Revelation. I mean, he is just parsing the book of Revelation, and they had everything figured out. Now, you get to the 2000s, after Tim LaHaye, look at the Left Behind series. Those were some of the best-selling books ever in the history of American publishing, Tyndale House Publishing. And you get to those. Now, so many people don't believe in the rapture. They don't believe in a pre-trib rapture, or they believe in a post-trib rapture or mid-trib rapture. But there used to be, believe it or not, amongst conservative Christians, great homogeneity of the coming of Jesus Christ. And that is definitely no longer the case. Definitely. 100%. And that's the reason you almost don't hear preaching of the end time any, because everybody's scared to mention the end time because nobody knows what everybody in the congregation believes. Do you believe pre-trib, 14 years before the trib, 7 years before the trib, after the 6th seal, wrath of God, mid-trib, 1290 days, on and so forth? I just had somebody ask me to do a video on Revelation, which I said, well, I just did one a few days ago, because they said somebody, I think they're apostolic, just did a video and basically said you're not saved unless you believe in a post-trib rapture. And it's like, I don't get it. I've begged people to show me the post-trib rapture. I've sat down with the leading proponent, supposedly, of the post-trib rapture. I've watched videos of post-trib rapture. The one that made the most sense is some Baptist guy out of Arizona. He did the best job I've ever seen, but I still didn't get convinced of it. I'd like to. See, and so this is just, so if you've always wondered what people who believe in a pre-trib rapture believe, even if you don't, read this Bible. You're going to get it. And I'm talking about it came down intricately. What is meant by the 70 weeks of Daniel? No temple. Questions frequently asked on prophecy. The millennial temple. Merrill F. Unger, which I really like. Merrill F. Unger. Perfect. Understanding covenants. Works and fruits. Worthy to be counted. God feedeth it. All kind. Christ ambassador in bonds. Just amazing stuff. What is heaven like? And so, let me just show you some more of these charts that were so effective. Now, and I've read, then you've got Thomas Ice and others of the Pre-Trib Center at Liberty University. And Marv Robensaw's like a after 6th seal kind of guy, I think. I just want to be ready when Jesus comes. How about that? It's not red letter. I did want to go there. Let's see how big this thing is. It is 9.5 inches by 6 inches, but now it's going to be kind of thick. I'm going to use this one for this. Appreciate the viewer who sent that. I thank the Lord for him, as a matter of fact. It really helps on the print size. And it's about 2 inches thick. So the Salem Kirban Reference Bible, it's a prophecy Bible. But it's got a lot of other stuff other than prophecy. It's got the 100 major questions answered. It's got 300 of Spurgeon's commentary in there, as well as his commentary, not just on prophecy. So, great little Bible. So, God bless. Talk with you later in Jesus' name.